Good evening. Welcome back to the Dugout Football Channel, my third stream of the day. How my voice isn't shot yet is unbelievable. But tonight is the final LFC Focus Podcast of 2021. I must say, when I first started this in August, I didn't think it would be as popular as it has been. So obviously a big thank you to obviously every panelist that's obviously been on. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, this is the final one of 2021. We will return in January as well. But to go out with a bang, we decided to bring on one of our favourite guests anyway. But with the panel tonight, we have Mr. Jack Mack LFC, who has done a prediction stream with me already today. How are you, Jack?
Not too bad, mate. Thank you for having me on again. Tonight, you'll be sick of me by the end of today. But thank you very much for having me on, mate.
And we saved the best till last with Mr. Owen Thomas from the Cop On. How are you, Owen?
How dare you insult me by suggesting I'm the best? No, you guys are the best. You guys are the best. I'm very well, thank you. I do enjoy the odd compliment, so please keep them coming. But the best is way too much. It's really nice to be here in front of, you lovely people here and everybody in the chat. Hello.
Hello, indeed. We've also got Mr. Connor Niblett from the Cop Council. How are you, Connor?
I'm doing very well, thank you, mate. Can I add anything else onto Owen's comments? No. But it's if anyone was, before we went live, we had a little bit of a Welsh lesson beforehand, and there were some interesting words. Let's say we won't mention any on stream. But of course, anything bad. But a little Welsh lesson. It was quite funny. So maybe we might teach some Welsh now in this. But I'm not going to be the Welsh teacher. I think Google's good enough for that. But apart from that, mate, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got Mr. Daniel from the Mighty Reds Television. How are you, Daniel?
I'm good, mate. I'm looking forward to Christmas. I've got 3 more shifts in work, and then I'm off till the 10th of January. So it's a good old break coming up. So yeah, I'm good.
Oh, nice.
Less said about the football, the better, but we'll come to that later because that is getting me a bit down, but we'll come to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, guys, if anyone said I was going to force you all to do one on Christmas Eve, I was like, no. Christmas Eve is a time for family. It's a time to just chill, relax.
But
I'm off work.
We are a family of sorts, Douglas. We are a family of sorts.
We are indeed. But no, I was definitely not going to force you to do one on Christmas Eve. But anyway, we have hello to people. Hello to Helen Raybould, Tom May. Yeah, well done, the Ev. Managing to get a very good 1-1 draw with Chelsea last night. The young lads did really well. So very, very well done to the young lads and agent Rafa. Of course. Hello to Elevator and Escalator fans 6. Hope you're doing well. And Chris Welch is in the building. Good evening, all, and 1-1 man. Yeah, we will anyway get there. But we do have to start with the seriousness of what is happening at this moment in time. 5 Premier League games are already called off at this moment in time. Manchester United, Brighton, Southampton, Brentford, Watford, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Norwich, and Everton versus Leicester are all being postponed this weekend. So big questions marks. Obviously, the Premier League are going to meet this week to decide what basically happens with the league. Jack, very, very worrying times.
Yeah, it's probably will see a lot more fixtures in the near future get suspended, and sadly, because obviously football is very much just kept everyone's joys up, and obviously football is such a massive factor for obviously mental health as well, and obviously just people in general. It gives us something to look forward to over the last 2 years, and obviously I think it will get stopped, but hopefully for not a long period. But it's English football. It has such an amazing place in society, especially in England and obviously around the world. But fingers crossed, a lot more games can go ahead. But it's more or less looking like, which we'll discuss tonight, that games possibly will be getting more cancelled, sadly.
Yeah, Owen, what do you see happening in the near future?
Well, I don't know. I'm not a soothsayer. I can't, read the bottom of the tea leaves and see what's going to happen. But I am in front of the new cases, the new statistics, on Google, the font of all knowledge, and 76,497 new cases were reported just yesterday, just in the UK. So that's up from 35,000 a month ago per day. So it's never really it's been quite high in the UK for a long time, but it sort of doubled in the last few days, the amount of new cases per day. And I imagine this is just going to go up, this huge spike. The great thing is that this wave, it doesn't appear to be as deadly as the last one, which is very, very good news. But still, I just hope everyone's, even though we're tired of it maybe, and it's been going on for ages, we're still remembering to wash your hands and all that, all the good stuff, do all the good stuff. But we'll just see what happens. As Jack said, football brings joy to so many, and it certainly has to us. Being Liverpool fans, we've been very lucky following our team. But we'll see what happens. But the most important thing is everyone stays as safe as possible, of course.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, get well soon. Fabinho, Virgil van Dijk, and Curtis Jones, absolutely for sure. Brad, I did see your comment just before we went live. Sadly, I feel as much as they try, it's going to happen. I don't think it will be like last time out, but I can see another long end to a season for games to be caught up with. I mean, Tottenham, I think, have had about 3 games postponed, and people are saying that the Liverpool game could go ahead, might not go ahead. It's just up in arms at this moment in time. But Connor, I think if we look at it from a Liverpool point of view, we are possibly going into potentially 2 games that might not take place. Tottenham on Sunday, and then Leicester in the Cup on Wednesday.
Yeah, mate, and it's all about disruption. And look, we don't know yet whether or not if there will be more cases with Liverpool. We don't even know whether or not if the 3 lads that tested positive are actually positive. Jurgen said today. We don't know yet whether or not they are fully positive. We hope not. But like he did say, it is very unusual for it to be 3 negative positives. False negatives. And it's that thing where, again, though, it's we all love football. Like, I think pretty much all of us can say that it really, really did help during the right in the heart of the pandemic that we are still going through. But health comes first. If the game needs to be postponed, if games do need to be postponed, then it's a must. And at the moment, I think it's going to get better. Of course, the booster program is being bumped forward to a month, and that whole pressure of that now and that. But it is just safety first, in my opinion, mate. But again, then if it does get stopped, how long does it get stopped for? That whole question. If it does, then the rescheduling of it, will the league get extended by a couple of months? And that it's such a short period of time because of other things. We've got the World Cup coming up, we've got the other league season then next year, and it's just cramping in things, isn't it? And it's the players that get affected the most, not with scheduling and that. But yeah, it is going to be interesting. Like, I think this week, all those games being postponed, I think all the games should be postponed because the majority of them are, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, Dan. I mean, it's really hard to say, but at this moment in time, I just can't see any game being on this weekend.
No, mate. We were talking off air, wasn't we? And I just think it's an awful time, mate. I can't see any games happening for a while. I think they're going to have to shut it down. But perversely, I don't really see what the point of shutting it down is. In that, obviously, we have to look after the NHS now. But in 2 weeks, this Omicron is going to be twice as bad. In a month, it's going to be again. And the problem is that the very nature of a virus is that it mutates all the time. Hence why people have to have a flu jab every year, because it changes. Yeah. As we get cleverer, it gets cleverer. This coronavirus is going to be... I remember when football first locked down in March 2020, and people were saying, nefariously at times, they were saying, let's null and void and we'll start again in September. Well, that September's gone. Another September's gone. And another September, it's going to be still here. This is going to be on a lifelong thing. Now, the genie's out the bottle. We're never going to get it back in. There's always going to be another strain. So where does that leave the future of not just football, but of life in England, of holidays, of school, of everything? At some point, we're going to have to basically learn to deal with it. And the problem is with the vaccines are great. They're stopping people getting majorly sick, but they're not stopping people getting it. They're not stopping people passing it. So it's just, listen, if I knew what the answer was, I'd be doing a lot better job than I was. I'd probably be at number 10 having a party, wouldn't I? But yeah, so this thing is not going to go away. So I just have no idea what the future is of life in England, and obviously football as well. It's awful.
Yeah. And in the words of Anton Deck, evening Prime Minister, for now. I like that wee dig as well. Jack, how many games could we see get postponed over the Christmas period?
There's a lot of football to be played, isn't it? And I think Stevie G said in his press conference today or yesterday, it's crazy. And we spoke about pre-pandemic and pre-COVID, sheer amount of players that the December and January take out of these players. It's ridiculous. And especially if you're getting players with like that are getting not just COVID, but they're getting infections, colds, and everything. It wipe out a lot of them really in terms of that. But I think, as Dan's at the nail on the head, for me personally, it makes sense to stop for 2 weeks and isolate everyone from the playing squad and all that, just so they can reset and obviously look after their families, most importantly themselves. And then come back in 2 weeks. Yes, as I said, there will be more games to be played, but you could be looking at a situation where possible Liverpool in the future might get suspended in terms of their matches getting suspended, and then all other teams within the league and around the world that are getting penalised for. It's difficult. You will be getting teams that will sadly be losing points or getting knocked out of tournaments just for the sheer factor of probably they've all been probably isolating very well and looking after their families in the football club, but they've caught it off another club that are allowing players to go out to parties and going out to certain events when they should be really in their bubble. It's difficult, mate, and I think possibly we'll see a suspension of play in England for at least 2 weeks in the coming weeks, or even not, if not, next couple of days.
I was going to say, Doug, there, sorry to butt in. I think, they need to have a 2 week break. Now, that's not going to help anyone in terms of the infections, but I just think they need to work out what the plan is for the rest of the season. As I say, this is not going away. And at any point in the season, it's going to strike up again. And the precedent's been set now, hasn't it, for cancelling games?
Yeah, it has.
So it's a massive thing. So they're going to need to start making some contingency plans about what they're going to do for the rest of the season and what they're going to have to do going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Jamie Phillips, hello. Klopp said today we should probably shut down for 2 weeks, but where do we play them 4 or 5 games? Absolutely. Especially because you've obviously got AFCON coming up, you've got the World Cup coming up in November as well. So it's a big challenge. Big challenges ahead. And do we go back to the start of COVID where everyone was like in these bubbles, etc.? Like people are having to like stay in their cars to see if they're testing negative. We're probably going to have to go back to that. Probably restrictions are probably going to come back in anyway. But
for me, the World Cup can't go ahead, Doug, and the AFCON. I know it's sad on the country because they would have made millions upon millions.
Sorry, Jack, just to interrupt. I'd actually go as far as saying the European tournaments as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably as well, mate. Yeah.
If you're gonna knock the international tournaments on the edge, you've got to look at the Champions League and Europa League and Europa Conference as international tournaments because they involve travel. They need to be knocked on the head as well.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah. Any competition that involves travelling really spot on there, mate. Yeah, yep. I'd agree with Dan.
I read somewhere, I don't know if it is Owen, but apparently France have got very, very restricted entries into the country.
Yeah. Sorry, I was going to interrupt then. Sorry, Owen, mate. Keep interrupting everyone. Yeah, me. Some of my family were going skiing tomorrow in France, but that's all been cancelled. No tourism, is there? Sorry, Owen. Just
No, that's right.
up
That's
in there,
right. I'm
mate.
supposed to go because I live in France. I'm supposed to go to England on Monday. We've been talking about it with my girlfriend. Do we really want to go? I mean, her family lives in the west of England, and I'm going to see my Auntie Zoe, in Wimbledon, who lives in Wimbledon, and my mum's going to be there. My brother's coming. He's actually arrived from America. All this stuff. So, I really want to go,
Yeah.
but because I have a British passport, I can go in as a British national, and because I live in France, I can come back. But it's just, I don't know. It's really bad in France. So I have to go to the big train station here in Paris, Gare du Nord, to get the Eurostar. And then I'm arriving in St. Pancras. And then, and all of these transport hubs where you get millions of people every day, literally millions of people every day. It's I don't know, the risk of catching it is wow, man, it's really high. So basically, it's almost like planning on getting COVID. That's my plan. What are you doing this Christmas? Well, I'm probably going to sit in my aunt's house sick and, waiting to get better. But, it's a bad situation here in France. Yeah. Lots more cases. I'll tell you how many in a moment. But it's, I don't know. It's not, I mean, like I said before, thankfully, it doesn't look like this particular mutation is particularly deadly, which is something. But so there you go. So 75,000 new cases in the UK yesterday, and in France yesterday, 60,000 new cases. So and that's up from it was 3,000 cases per day back in October. So 20 times that amount.
Yes. Well, I don't know what the truth of it is, Owen, but I'm sure someone said the R rate could be as high as 5 in England, which, unless I've misinterpreted, that means for each person that gets it, they reinfect 5 people. And then 5 infect another 5. So it just shows you how exponentially it's growing, doesn't it? It's like Gremlins or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's madness.
Definitely. Tom May says, I can see fans not being allowed to stadiums again the way it's going. Connor, do you agree with that?
Sadly, yes. I think everything will go back. I absolutely agree with what the lads have said so far, and I think as well it will. I think if things continue the way they are, they will go back to what it was in the pandemic era. Just behind closed doors, no fans, and of course none of us want to. Because even watching at home, it's miles better with fans there. But again, it's safety first, isn't it? And it is that. It's such a difficult position to be in, because no one wants this. We all want to watch football, we all want to enjoy football, and so on. And it's just really, really crap that we can't, that we're in this situation. And I get, I've seen a couple of people, being super frustrated, with having, the double vaccines and now the booster, and this is still a thing. And it's that's just the sad reality. We are, like what Dan said, we are going to have to learn to live with it. It isn't going to go away unless, of course, there's a vaccine to eliminate COVID, which doesn't seem likely. But it is going to be at that point in the minute. We are going to have to live with it. And move on. But it is such a hard thing at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. If the league shut down, the Premier League can afford it, but lower league clubs could really struggle. There is a knock-on effect. Yep, absolutely. I think there's a lot of clubs struggling financially. You club, obviously, with Derby County going through. I think Reading have been through the mire. Cardiff City as well. There's so many clubs that could potentially fold.
I'll tell you something. After the summer, FSG might be sitting pretty, mightn't he? Not spending any money.
I don't know. The problem is that the UK play too football over a season.
Too much.
Play too much.
Too much. Yeah. Asian sensational. When your throat gets better, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not a problem. Should play through it, in my opinion. COVID's here forever, says the Reclaimer. LPL, yeah. If you look at other leagues, they don't play nowhere near as much as we do. Therefore, they can break and come back. Well, you see that. I mean, the Premier League play 38 games, but EFL Championship, PFL League One, EFL League Two, they've got 46 games. 46 games a season. I mean, that's like way too much. If you look at it that way.
I can never fathom out though why we don't just mirror the European leagues and have a proper winter break. It's like this British exceptionalism that we seem to be plagued with. I don't know why we don't just copy what the other countries do.
Well, look at Germany. The Bundesliga finishes Sunday and goes away for 2 weeks. I think the Italian leagues is the same. I'm not sure about the French league. La Liga, I don't think have a winter break. So, yeah, I think you're right. Even the Scottish Prem has a 2 week winter break in the start of January. Yeah, so definitely what you do. The players and staff stay in bubbles in their own hotels, no mixing. Yeah, I suppose as well. Hello to Andrew Williams. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for tuning in. Cardiff City folding. Don't make me have an orgasm. Yeah, because you're a Swansea City supporter, aren't you? Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Cardiff. If Nathan was here, he would tell you obviously different. But obviously, we'll move away from the seriousness to something that, I mean, me and Owen were on stream twice on Monday, and we've gone from drawing Red Bull Salzburg to then getting Inter Milan because basically somebody doesn't know what they were doing. So basically, if anybody hasn't seen this, what happened was Villarreal were drawn against Manchester United. Now, obviously, Manchester United couldn't get Villarreal because Manchester United were already in Villarreal's group from the Champions League group stage. What happened then was that Manchester City came out for Villarreal. So obviously, at that point, you're thinking it's a null and void draw. What happened then was Atletico Madrid, the Manchester United ball didn't actually go into the Atletico Madrid pot. They put the Liverpool ball into the pot. So if Liverpool got Atletico Madrid, then that would be null and void as well because we had already had them in the group. I mean, Jack, have you ever seen anything like what happened on Monday?
No. And even if the blame is the supercomputer, Christ, I think all of us knew the rules and we could have done a better job. But Shavin, I think it was madness. Like, yeah, it just adds to the fiasco. And I know everyone takes the mickey out of UEFA for being corrupted. Not really, but it wouldn't surprise you with FIFA. You never know with these competitions. But I think it was United kicked off, Atletico kicked off, and someone else as well. Rightly so, because obviously the draw was wrong, but all because they got hard draws. And they were like, and then United got another hard draw after that. So good on them anyway. But yeah, crazy. But as I said, positive. We'll beat anyone, mate, on a Liverpool's perspective. Confidence in whoever we play. I was watching one of my good YouTubers that I'm not a no, but I like to watch. Kerr, he's a massive Inter Milan fan. And he was watching the live draw, and I've just watched his replay, his reaction, and him and all of his intermates, and they were absolutely crying because that was the one team that they did not want in that pot was Liverpool, because obviously given how they play football and how they play against opposition teams, and they were all crying. So that's a positive to see their reaction. But yeah, they are not looking forward to the Liverpool game.
Yeah, obviously, Owen. I mean, big thank you for sticking around for both draws on Monday. I mean, have you ever seen anything what happened like that?
Well, no. I mean, I saw on Twitter. I have no idea if it's true that that actually happened once before in 1977, which is the year, and we ended up winning the European Cup, right, for the first time. I think that was it's happened only once before in history. But I got that from Twitter, so don't chuck any eggs at me if you find out that's not actually true. But it's interesting what Jack was saying about how Inter didn't want us. I was speaking to someone who's very, very involved with Paris Saint-Germain the other day, and apparently they were all like, thinking, oh, please not Liverpool, please not Liverpool. So in a way, it's worked out well for us, I think, because although Salzburg would be an easier game, Inter, we seem to be good, we're the opposite of flat track bullies. Remember when we played RB Salzburg a couple of years ago when they had Haaland? I mean, he's a great player, but we sort of struggled past them. We're the opposite of flat track bullies. It's like we're the opposite. We're steeplechase bullies or steeplechase friends or whatever the opposite of a flat track bully is. But we're more up for it. Like we went to the Allianz, that brilliant game with Sadio Mane's goal, 3-1. Oh man, what a result that was! And I just think we will be more up for Inter. So I'll be very, 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 intrigued if it goes ahead. Let's assume that it does. I can't wait. I think Liverpool are looking very good in Europe.
Oh, Becca's just literally just brought in a box of Quality Street, so thank you.
I don't bring them in, but you eat them all.
Oh, well, there we go then. Yeah, don't do that.
That's very nice.
Where was I speaking? Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, Connor, obviously 2008, 2009 was the last time we played Inter Milan. Good old Fernando Torres, Dirk Kuyt, Steven Gerrard. Oh, the memories. Are you happy with getting Inter?
Yeah, of course, mate. Look, like Jack said, would have took anyone. For me, I really wanted PSG at the start of the draw. Because if we could beat the best, then we are the best. Then because I think PSG are pretty much favourites since of course Messi signed and so forth. But any team would have been happy with. And look, big old Nat Phillips. Hopefully he gets a game against Inter Milan. He's already done one job at the San Siro this season. Hopefully he can do it again. But no, look, it is just that. I think out of both competitions, I think out of the Premier League and the Champions League, obviously if it does still go ahead and so forth, I think Liverpool are better suited to win the Champions League this season, the way we play. So for me, I wouldn't have cared who we had, but it was just nice to see other people panic and worry about who they were going to play, like Manchester United and Chelsea. Chelsea fans were, shaking that they could have got Bayern and Ajax and they ended up getting Lille. And maybe Lille can shock a couple of people, maybe, but I doubt it. But look, I'm happy with our draw. I was just loving the fact that other teams were panicking and shaking.
Yeah, let's see what some of you are saying as well. Just before I go to the comments, Dan, did you manage to see the draw happening?
I did, mate. What funny? I was watching it and I was thinking, why did they make this so complicated? And then the next thing they drew was a Villarreal Man U, and I thought, what's going on there? I knew straight away something wasn't right, but I just don't know why I do know why they make it so complicated, because obviously they want the better teams. They want to see the better teams, don't they, to get to the final, because no one wants to see RB Leipzig v Lille in the Champions League final apart from RB Leipzig and Lille fans. So they obviously try and work it so the better teams get the best draws and all that sort of stuff, but it's all just a bit of a farce, isn't it?
It was.
Yeah,
it was indeed.
Put all the balls in a pot and draw them out, and whoever you get, whoever you get.
Chris Wells saying FIA Michael Massey was behind that Champions League draw. He might well have been. In my opinion, Inter are just as rubbish, if not worse, than Salzburg. Now, that's very interesting, Andrew. Very, very interesting. I know that Serie A, I don't watch a lot of Serie A, so I can't really say, but I just look at that AC Milan game and I just think that the standard of it is Serie A is not the best. And we managed to cruise past a very, very, well, I would say good AC Milan side. Tyler Morton bossed a midfield, which is obviously a good thing. For Champions League draw was a total embarrassment for everyone involved. Yeah, absolutely. Shot they didn't do redraw for dropping ball or spelling team's name wrong. I wondered, did they spell Villarreal wrong? There was definitely one team that they spelled wrong. I'm pretty sure it was Villarreal. I think they put one too many R's on or something.
Yeah, that must be it. That draw might as well being done by me, maybe with my dyslexia.
Maybe they were trying to be Spanish, like roll the R's. Villarreal.
Yeah, I quite like that. 1977 could be an omen for us. Ooh, interesting. Shock you if I didn't put Barcelona in the draw just for the sake of it instead of Benfica. That wouldn't have surprised me anyway. PSG aren't favourites for me in terms of squad, yes, probably, but with their manager being an Argentinian bridesmaid, I'm not scared of them. Oh, Jesus. Oh, jeez. You ever want Messi versus Ronaldo? Come on, let's stop living with the bird. Yes, they did. And exactly. Yeah. Absolutely, it's just one of those farcical things to have happened. But yeah, it was a joy to do two draws. I must admit, I did enjoy doing two draws, but I think I was one of the first people to have noticed that mistake. Basically, I was on stream when I read it out. I was like, hang on, something's not right there. And then you just see the total mock up, or excuse my French, fuck up that they managed to do. So not great, not great by UEFA. But the best thing about that UEFA draw was seeing the Claudio Ranieri lookalike, Giorgio Marchetti. Always think he looks like Claudio Ranieri. But right, enough wittering on. We will move from no. Actually, what I will do is speak about the other Champions League ties. I'll give you all one to discuss. Connor, Sporting Man City. Obviously, I'd like Sporting to win. Come on, Sebastian Coates. But you have to say City are going to go through.
Of course they are, mate. Like Sporting is just the League Two of the Champions League, if that makes sense. In terms of quality, but yeah, it's just City getting an easy draw again. But what do we expect?
Yeah, Jack, Benfica Ajax could be a fun one.
Yeah, it'd be a good one for the neutral, that. I think Ajax will be happy with that draw. Obviously, a lot of the English teams would have liked to have faced two of the Portuguese teams in the next round. But yeah, I've been massively impressed with Ajax this season. Been tremendous. Since there was, and there was Bayern as well. I think all went 6-6. So tremendous results for Ajax, and pretty confident Sebastian Haller, top goal scorer in Champions League, surprisingly. But I think he got to the 10 goals quicker than a certain Haaland. Just saying. 100 million for him. But yeah, I fully envision Ajax going through in that time. Mate, should have far too much for Benfica.
Well, I know there's someone on this panel who lives about very, very close to the Parc des Princes, so it's only fair, Owen, I give you PSG, Real Madrid. I mean, Real Madrid will be absolutely fuming going from Benfica to PSG. PSG will be absolutely fuming going from Manchester United to Real Madrid. I mean, this tie has got fireworks written all over it.
Yeah, it depends on your attitude, isn't it? Like, it's very interesting, I think, if you're a PSG player or coach or someone, you know, and you get Man United and you think, well, okay, yeah, we can beat them. They're not that great this year. And then to go to a much more difficult team with Real Madrid, you know, for me, I'd be like, oh shit. But for them, it's like great, you know, that's like the dream. The dream is to have the bigger competition, you know, the bigger team to play against, because then you test yourself against the best. But it's one that's full of subplots. You've got Mbappe, who said publicly that he wants to go to Real Madrid in June, which looks like it's happening. And then you've got Ancelotti back against it, you know, managing against his former club, PSG. There are tons of them. Sergio Ramos, of course. Messi, Ronaldo.
Leonardo and Perez. The main one.
Yes. Okay, there you go. And it's just full of subplots and intrigue. And I don't know, I'll be doing my best to get a ticket, but so will about, 10 million people living around me. But it should be a cracker. It should be a real cracker.
Yeah, Dan, I feel very sorry for RB Salzburg. First time they get through the round of 16, and yet they probably get the favourites for the Champions League, Bayern Munich.
Yeah, tough draw for them, wasn't it? Were they due to play us first as well?
Play us, yeah.
Yeah, so either way, they were getting a bit of a tough draw. They went from what's the saying, it from the fire into the frying pan, or whatever, out of the frying pan into the fire, whatever way around it is. Yeah, so we went from one tough draw to another. Yeah, you could only see that one going one way, couldn't you? Obviously, Bayern will beat them probably home and away.
Connor, Villarreal Juventus. I'm going to be honest. I think this is 50-50. I really do.
It might be the only one that you'd think Juve would go through, but Villarreal and Unai Emery, especially in European competitions, have been very, very good. You know, maybe should have done better in United's group. But Juve this season looking terrible in a, we already spoke about the Serie A, and they've looked terrible in that league. And yes, they've beat Chelsea once this season, but you've seen, when Chelsea played well, they absolutely destroyed Juventus. I think it was 4-0 in the end. So for me, I think this is probably the only upset in the next round. I think Villarreal is going to go through. But if Juve did go through, I think it would be just because of Chiesa and Dybala, I should say. Sorry, but yeah, Villarreal, I think, will go through.
Yeah, I think the yellow submarine will sink the old lady. I like that play on words. Jack, Atletico Manchester United. I mean, Luis Suarez going back to Old Trafford. Well, he will get a big bit hostile reception from the Manchester United fans. How do you see that one going?
I think he'll want to play well to appease certain sections of the Liverpool fan base, because he kind of pissed us all off after the Barca game. But he got a little round of applause when he come off, didn't he, when we played them at Anfield. So yeah, if you're Man United, I think that's more of a difficult game than the draw that they did have prior. If you're a United fan, you're frustrated. I know we've absolutely slapped them up, but we're Liverpool. We're us, City and Chelsea are running away with the league at the minute. But Ralph, it's going to be an intriguing tactical battle in terms of how they've got the good enough players. Ronaldo is going to be the main headline in that result. Obviously, when he was at Juventus, all the Atleti fans going "Sue" after the game and all that nonsense. And then Ronaldo took that upon himself to single-handedly, not for the first time, but knock Real Madrid out of the Champions League. So, a lot of stories to go.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a very, very interesting tie. Dan, Chelsea, Leo. I mean, is there any point discussing this? I think Chelsea will go through pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I think they would have been pretty pleased with the draw, wouldn't they? Chelsea, you'd expect them to go through, although they are in a bit of a sticky patch of form, aren't they? Maybe the two shell bubbles starting to burst a little, maybe not, but you would still expect whenever the game is played that Chelsea will get through. Yeah,
definitely. And I'm trying to remember the other ties. Do you know that? I'm trying to remember the other ties, and I think we've probably gone through them all, unless I've missed one. If anyone can think of any others, my mind's gone completely blank now.
Who is Sporting playing?
Man City.
Yeah, I think you covered it all, mate. Yeah, I mean that's.
Yeah, I think I have. I think I have. Right. So let's see what some of you are saying. I fancy Real Madrid chances in that game. So do I. I think they will breeze past PSG. Real Madrid will breeze through that game. And sorry to say, but I reckon they will win the Champions League. I still think Bayern Munich are favourites, Tom. I still think Bayern Munich are favourites, followed by Liverpool. You what? Real Madrid got their act together this season. Okay, La Liga not great, but even so, still got a good squad. Yeah, absolutely. Juventus done well in the Champions League, but bad in their own league. Very strange. It is very, very strange, isn't it? And also, if anyone has obviously been following the French league, Lille are 11th, and they won the league last season. So, and Simeone's never beaten a team that has Cristiano. Wow. When I mean beaten, I mean knocked out a team with Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, that's got to be something anyway. Man City, Sporting. Yeah, we talked about that. Anyway, but we will move on. We will move on to two great wins. Oopsie daisy. Two great wins over Aston Villa and Newcastle United. Connor, I mean, Aston Villa was a big result for me. The way that we managed to grind out that 1-0 victory. I mean, Alisson didn't have one of his best games, let's be honest. He was quite shaky. But what did you make of the performance against Villa?
Just a really, really classic Liverpool struggled win. And I like to see it. I like this. Of course, it gives you heart attacks sometimes, where, maybe someone's one-on-one and that. But it reminds me a lot of Liverpool when we won the league, grinding out those results. The whole season, like the most in that season was what, 2-1? in terms of results, and that is what this game reminded me of. Look, Stevie G, he's done fantastically well since coming at Villa. Especially, I think they played Man City, didn't they, a couple of days before us? They said, I think we did a preview, Doug, didn't we? And Chris said that Villa should have got something from that game. They just come up and did a performance. Look, did they challenge Liverpool going forward? Villa, not so much. I think they had maybe 2 chances. One was probably Ali, making a fuss of things. But apart from that, Liverpool just kept on going. I think on XG, I think Liverpool 2-3 goals up on XG. Even though I know XG is very, very, debatable in that. But Liverpool were having the chances, and that for me is a good sign. It's a good sign that, because a game like that last year, we would have dropped points quite easily. And the fact that we've got 3 points is a huge, huge saying for Liverpool going for the title, of course.
Did you think it was a penalty, Jack?
For us, of course. Yeah, of course. Stephen Gerrard would have been going, yeah, of course, as well, with his mask on. Yeah, it was crazy. Tyrone Mings was man of the match up until that point, wasn't he? And then he just goes and does that. Like, fair play. We had it with Mosa when we played Atletico a couple of months ago. Sometimes defenders just lose the marbles inside the 6-yard box. But that happens when you're defending against one of the best players on the planet at the minute. Salah just standing next to you just makes defenders make rash decisions. But tremendous, as Connor said. Happy days. Massive 3 points come the end of May if we do continue playing football. And it's just about getting that momentum, regardless. Even if we win the next 10 league games, 1-0, mean the exact same amount of points, and we go marching onwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Owen, have you been impressed with the way Gerrard's gone in at Villa and stamped his authority on the team?
Yeah, I mean, they were awful defensively. And I thought in the few games I saw under Dean Smith, it was especially their fullbacks and the space in the midfield in front of the centre-backs. I don't know what it was tactically they were doing under Dean Smith, but I don't think their players did either, to be honest. But the fullbacks looked a bit, I don't know, tired, a little bit off the pace, a little bit, 98% committed to matches instead of 100%. And, there were spaces everywhere. So Gerrard, I mean, he's just been sensible. He's come in and he's picked, 3 solid midfielders, every game. Marvellous Nakamba, John McGinn and Douglas Luiz, and it works. And he's like, and I was very impressed with Cash versus us compared to the other games I've seen him in. So yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what they've done. I mean, yeah, they deserve to. I mean, the XG that Connor was mentioning before was 2.71 to Liverpool and 0.14 to Villa. They had 4 shots and none on target. So yeah, we definitely deserved to win that match. And we were definitely the better team. But yeah, well done, Stevie G. I mean, it's all working out perfectly. By the time he plays Man City at the end of the season, he'll be able to, rob them of points and win us the championship.
I think that's the dream scenario for him anyway, wouldn't it be? Hello to Red Sports, hope you're doing very, very well. Chris Welsh, Aston Villa were happy to settle for a point in my opinion. That sums Mings up, he can be good, then car crash mistake like that happens. And hello to Maisie, Devils United, hope you are doing very well as well. I bought the XG nonsense on Twitter, it gives me a headache.
Don't get me started on Rams on XG. Oh my lord!
I quite like it. I'll defend it.
Yeah, it's just like we've all played. Imagine if XG was around when we were all like 10 playing footy in the park. You can't. It doesn't involve like the weather, the conditions, and unpredictable nature of things.
No, it's true. Yeah. It doesn't take into account a lot, and it doesn't take into account how many defenders are in front of someone. It depends on the model, and also who's taking the shot. Because if Novak takes it, or if Nat Phillips takes it, it doesn't take lots of things into account. But what it does tell you is how many good chances your team is creating. Like it's about creating chances. It's nothing to do with finishing them or anything like that. Like even on a windy day, you can create lots of good chances. I quite like it for that. Yeah, but it's not an exact science.
It is good. Yeah, it's got the positives as well.
But to be fair, we could, if we were listening to XG, Brighton would have been 5th in the league last year or something like that.
Yeah,
because they were very, very high on XG.
5th, you're right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's a mental stat. Guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and also share the stream with your friends so more people can obviously watch this. It all does with the algorithm, which I'm still trying to work out anyway. But Dan, XG, are you one for XG?
Yeah, I think it's quite. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think it's quite good fun. Yeah, it's an interesting stat. There's another way of looking at it, and the guys who seem to do it on Twitter, they always, the interesting guys, and they always seem to say, when teams are overperforming on their XG, it's not something that's sustainable, and it always seems to be right. You know what I mean? When they're scoring like worldies, it does seem to be like, have a bit of some legs in it, how accurate the XG is. So I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, if only XG was the scoreboard. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Chris. Exactly. Because that would obviously be for Brighton. So we followed that up with a 3-1 win over Newcastle United last night. Went behind after 7 minutes. Jonjo Shelvey had to be bloody Jonjo Shelvey. I remember an absolute screamer he scored for. Swansea into the top corner. Was it written in the stars, Jack, that Jonjo Shelvey was going to score against us?
Yeah, Lord Voldemort himself. He loves a goal at Anfield. So yeah, it was a tremendous goal, and it was a lovely darted run by Mike Dean, and then John Joe ran over to the right hand side as well. So it was John Joe's like, I'm not stopping Trent score on this banger. He's like, yeah, I'll get out of the way. He's defo. Once you're a red, you're always a red, aren't you, for certain players? And pretty sure he enjoyed his time. He was loved at Liverpool, just mainly for the fact of him telling Fergie to F off in that certain game. Anyway, he's got a set of bollocks on him.
The first goal for us is being talked about today. Now. I've always been told that when there is a head injury or like a head injury elsewhere on the park, I've been told that the game has to stop. But obviously, Mike Dean didn't stop the play. Connor, what did you make of our first goal yesterday? Did you see why Newcastle fans were a bit angry?
I can get it, and I can totally understand it. Look, head injuries are serious; they need to be, sorted to straight away. But if you actually watch it, it's not there's no foul committed. He's in between, I think, Kanate and two of his own defenders. I don't know who the players are. And then doesn't go, he watches the play for a certain amount of seconds and then goes to ground. That's not a head injury, in my opinion. Head injury, it's a natural thing. Yes, you can have concussion and go to the ground, slowly. But he watches the play, he watches Liverpool go back into the box and then goes down and acts injured. For me, it's a goal. The law book, it's a goal. And look, it's going to be controversial. It's like the Arsenal goal a couple of weeks ago against Manchester United. That was a very controversial goal with David De Gea. But for me, it's a goal. And in my opinion, I think he puts it, especially Eddie Howe as well, because I think that's the more questionable thing that has to be said about Eddie Howe. After the game, said that he was dazed and confused for 5-10 minutes after the challenge. If that's the case, get him off the pitch. You don't keep him on the pitch unless you're speaking a load of waffle. You don't keep a player on the pitch for that long if he's dazed and confused.
I wish Jürgen or the actual interview had done the job properly and just brought that question to him, mate.
It's so stupid.
Klopp was watching the interview and probably not laughing to himself, but he was like, "You're taking the mickey." I wish Klopp come out and said, "Well, Eddie Howe left his player on the pitch after concussion." But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's never a foul.
That's the bit I don't get, Owen, is how Isaac Hayden was obviously dazed / concussed, but yet he managed to play 90 minutes.
Yeah, or wasn't he subbed off after 70? I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, you don't play on if you're concussed, and it's a load of waffle. It's a load of old nonsense. It's it's just Eddie Howe. I don't know, looking for an excuse or something. Because at the end of the day, if he was exactly as the guy said, just take him off. If he's concussed, you're allowed to make a concussion substitute now, aren't you? But either way, just it's just I don't know. I mean, had it been the other way round, would I be upset? I would be upset. I would be more upset at my player feigning it if I was in a relegation battle and one of my defenders was in our own box playing their attackers onside because he's pretending to have a head injury so that he can stop the game and waste time. I think that it's embarrassing. I mean, unless he was genuinely hurt, there was some kind of something. Maybe he landed on his head or something. I have no idea what happened. But I just very much doubt that he was genuinely hurt already. How would it take him off?
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, are you on the same wavelength with everyone else on the first goal?
Yeah, mate. I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that I don't know how true it is, but I was reading some people saying there's like a bit of a fashion now to sustain the concussion injuries to try and relieve a bit of pressure, because traditionally, obviously, the referee's meant to stop, so it might be something that's coming in. But yeah, it didn't seem to me to be a clash of heads, but I can see why Newcastle were a bit disappointed. Probably the referee should have stopped it for the safety of it, but thank God for us, he didn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry to butt in, Doug, but reading a couple of things last night on Twitter, a lot of Arsenal fans were saying that Newcastle players were the same in their game, like trying to get injuries, a lot of head injuries as well, to try and stop and break down the play. Don't know whether or not if that's a tactic they're trying to do. I don't know if that's true to begin with, but there was a lot of Arsenal fans on Twitter last night, commenting about that goal and saying that pretty much similar things about Newcastle trying to fake injuries to break down play.
Interesting. I didn't actually know that. We just needed Harry Potter lookalike on pitch with Shelby, who's Voldemort lookalike. Yeah, absolutely. Newcastle players collided with each other, if anything. Yeah, I mean, it was Lascelles and Hayden, I think. Like Lascelles is not the best anyway. Hello to Sean Byrne, Football Channel. Hi, does everyone think the Chelsea Wolves will happen? Up in the air, mate. I don't know. I don't think Wolves have any COVID issues. I think Chelsea may have a couple, but I honestly wouldn't tell. Anyway, I fancy we upset actually in that game anyway. I'm sorry, bans need to happen on the Newcastle player going to ground when nothing is wrong with them. Sick of the play acting, they'd be brilliant on Coronation Street. Some Newcastle fans need to go back to sleep for saying it was red card for Arnold for winning last-ditch tackle on Fraser. Maybe they bumped their head. And Newcastle players are acting like crying wolves yesterday. But Shelby was a hero for their goal, but the Liverpool second goal, what is he doing? Jack, what is he doing? Plays it straight to Mane. To be fair play to Mane, managed to keep on his feet to get a shot away. Goes off Dubravka, and Mo Salah is there to finish. We have to give massive credit to Sadio Mane for staying on his feet.
Yeah, he's tremendous. And I think Sadio, after the goal, he was celebrating with Mo, and he was like, could have squared it back to me, couldn't you, Mo? But yeah, no, he was absolutely made up. Salah's easiest goal he would have scored all season. But tremendous. And this notion of people saying Mane's not having the best season, he's playing well. Just because he's not scoring goals and people live off goals.
Oh, Jack, honestly, I have gone absolute crazy on Twitter today. The amount of people I've seen criticise Mane for his lack of goals. Did you see his off-the-ball movement last night? It was absolutely magnificent. I thought he had a great game. I thought he had a fantastic game last night. Yeah. Yes, it's not all about goals and assists, but the thing is, Mane for me was really, really good last night. The only thing that was missing with it was a goal. I thought he was excellent. His off-the-ball movement was terrific yesterday.
What it is, Doug, sorry, Doug, just to interrupt. What it is these gremlins, as I call them, on Twitter, they look for things to try and justify their toxic behaviour in requesting new signings. So obviously, if they say Mane's rubbish and he's past it and he's COVID, addled, ex-footballer, then that justifies the need to demand new signings off FSG. It justifies their sweetened Linda Pizzuti Henry. They're absolutely the pond life. They need euthanizing, these people. And that's all it is. They did it in the summer. They did it in the summer. They saying, "Oh, Curtis Jones laughed." He kept on saying as if only Liverpool people liked him, and he was rubbish. Not that he was the England 21 captain and a player with a lot of potential.
Jesus, yeah.
Harvey Elliott. They rubbished Harvey Elliott. Now he's seen in the first 4 games of the season how good he is. They just use it as a means to justify the toxic behaviour online. That's all it is. And it's the same with Mane.
But it's like people saying. There was one tweet I saw earlier that was saying Thiago's our worst signing since Adrian. I was like, oh,
I switched off Twitter, mate. That was.
I blocked that person. I just
Jesus
immediately
Christ.
blocked that person. I saw it too, and it's like I just can't be bothered. I cannot be bothered to engage in that kind of thing.
People give them the publicity, don't they? Like they reply to them and just please don't reply.
Just like shut up. Just like shut up. Get off Twitter or get off bloody, I don't know, FIFA or PES. It's just ridiculous.
Go and find a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Go and get a life, You'll find that a lot more entertaining than just sitting there tweeting nonsense all day.
It's absolutely nonsense. So obviously we go 2-1 in front in the at half time, and then Newcastle have a chance, and I have to say, Connor, I thought the Shelby free kick was in all the way. It was curling, it's just past the post.
To be fair, I looked at it and I thought, it's John Joe Shelby. Will he score another one? And I was like, I'm confident. And then I saw Ali just sprint to the top corner. I was like, oh no! Like when Ali's doing that, it's not a good sign. But luckily, it went past the post. But yeah, just John Joe Shelby, man. If his attitude problem wasn't a thing, he'd be such a good player, I think. Mm-hmm. But he's just failed career.
Failed career. Oh, crikey. But if there was any doubt about the first goal, my goodness, the third goal. I mean, this Owen, it's Gerrard-esque. It is just unbelievable strike from Trent Alexander Arnold. I'm
so happy you asked me about this because I've been trying to think for a couple of hours, actually. I was in the pharmacy before queuing up for my asthma prescription. And I was thinking, what did he do to that ball? Right? How can you... Because I love that goal. I love the attitude with which he struck that ball. It was like... it wasn't quite with hatred, because it wasn't that strong. It wasn't that, Voldemort thing about it. It wasn't hatred, but there was a derision. There was a mockery of the whole situation, the way he struck that ball. It was almost as if he imagined that ball was Boris Johnson's head. And he absolutely walloped it as hard as he could. And it was flying in, kudos to, the two dummies by Mike Dean and Jojo to get out of the way of it, because, that would have, put a hole in them. They got in the way. It was so beautiful. And I love this sort of what have we been doing? We've been wasting our time. All you need to do in this football game, take a touch to control the ball and whack it in the goal. That's all you need to do. And it's just like, it was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. And I could watch it forever.
Oh, bless. But I have to say, when they're hit, Jack, they are absolutely hit.
What made that better as well, I'm spot on, was the crowd going, shoot. There's no better feeling. I think Fabinho's done a couple of screamers in the past when the cop have told him to shoot. Yeah. And is there anything this lad can't do? He can defend, which he showed in the game. He got the ball, wasn't a pen. The art of actually defending is still alive in football, which the referees would love to take away. But this man... This lad's, he's become a man anyway over the last couple of years, but tremendous. He can play anywhere on the pitch, apart from goal, and do a tremendous job. We're just very blessed that he's, 22, 23, and he's still got a lot of years still to go in the engine. So it's like saying that.
Something that struck me.
Sorry, Doug. 11 goals and assists this season already, and it's
Wow. That is very, very good for a right back as well. Absolutely. And people say he can't defend. I know which right back I would rather have. But Connor, something that struck me. I don't know if you've been noticed about Trent Alexander Arnold. He seems to be marauding through midfield a lot. I don't know if Klopp's given him a tendency just to play through midfield, but it was quite interesting yesterday that somebody actually tweeted it, and it actually looks like that Klopp's actually given Trent a more of a free role from right back into a sort of a central midfielder, and his game is going from strength to strength.
Yeah, it is, mate. And look, I think Jurgen's just gone, you can just have the right-hand side. You can come in a little bit and just do what you want. As long as you defend, it's fine. And I just want to quickly talk about that last-ditch tackle. Trent Alexander-Arnold, he gets, absolutely slaughtered by opposite fans, critics, so on, for his defending. This season... He has proved time after time after time that his defensive work is brilliant. And we already know about him going forward. He's sensational going forward. He is the best right back in world football. He's the best right back in the Premier League. And that's not even a debate. It's just the debate is who's second. Is it Cancelo, Walker, Reece James, whoever? Like Owen said, the numbers are unbelievable with Trent Alexander-Arnold since he's been in Liverpool's first 11, and they're only getting better this year. For me, without even that goal yesterday, mate, I thought he was man of the match. Again, commanding that right-hand side, week in, week out, never injured. If he is injured, it's only like a week or two out. He is just transforming football, and just to think he's still only, 24? Like, it's unbelievable. By the time he's 30, he's going to be, gone in terms of goals and assists. So, for me, I think there is no doubt that he is the best right back in the world.
Dan, can anyone catch Salah?
I'm sorry, I had to mute myself then. Unless he gets injured, no.
Was he on 15? 15 for the
I
season?
don't know, but I mean, Harry Kane is just, I don't know what's he going through his mind. He's only scored one league goal. He's relinquished that, hasn't he? The top goal scorer award.
Salah's on 15. I just looked up. Salah's on 15, and the next best is Jota on 9, and Vardy on 9, and then it's down to Dennis and Mount and Cristiano Ronaldo on 7 each.
Yeah, so unless he gets like a bad injury and misses the rest of the season, no one's going to catch him.
No, I absolutely agree. And, 20, I think it's 23 goals in all competitions so far, and we're only in December. Absolutely amazing, for sure. Someone's enjoying themselves. Connor, Naby Keita, thought he looked pretty bright when he came on.
Oh, Naby lad. Got a little bit of Naby lad. And it's good, mate, that we've got players coming back. Bobby looked good when he came on. Naby, Ox looked decent at times yesterday, I think. I think sometimes he was a bit lacking at times. But then it's just good, Harvey Elliott to come back as well. In the first week of January, there's even talks of him potentially being back, towards the end of December, which would be huge if possible. I doubt it, but it would be huge. And look, it's just fantastic that we have a fit-ish Liverpool squad. It's just a shame, obviously, with we don't know what's going to happen, and so forth. But going on to Mo, mate, I looked earlier. There was that stat going around that Liverpool, just with Mo Salah's goals, would be third right now in the league, and like assists as well.
It's mental.
It's ridiculous. 2022's Ballon d'Or is already going to Egypt, in my opinion.
And yet, there's certain people in Manchester who think that Bernardo Silva should be Player of the Season.
Oh, don't, mate! It's so stupid. No one's even been on Mo Salah's level this year in Europe, let alone the Premier League. It's just hilarious when people mention Bernardo.
It's their bitterness. They hate that he plays for Liverpool, don't they? And we love it.
Yeah.
Even the honestly hate it.
Yeah. Just a quick one on Newcastle, Owen. Do you think they'll survive this season?
Oh, no chance. No. Absolutely no chance. And they've got Callum Wilson, who's a really good player, and Alan Saint-Maximin, who's a bit of an obsession of mine. Absolutely love the guy. Love watching him play football. He's so much fun, and he's sort of, I don't know. I think, I'd love him at Liverpool. It won't happen, but I'd love him at Liverpool. Anyway, apart from them, they've got, League One players. I think John Joe Shelvey, Eddie Howe said his first thing he said when he was hired was, I'm going to build the team around John Joe Shelvey. And that's just such a mistake. Like, I don't know. He's as we saw yesterday, he can strike a ball beautifully, but that's all he can do. He can't run. He can't defend. He makes mistakes a lot. You can just run straight past him. And if you're building your team around such a, relatively poor footballer for Premier League standards, then, look how far adrift they are at the bottom already. No, they've got no chance, absolutely no chance of staying up. And
you want to have another laugh because I've read that apparently they're in for Aubameyang in January.
Aubameyang.
Believe what you read, but I have to say,
person they want or need.
That is the last person you want because he's just been stripped of the Arsenal captaincy, rightfully, in my opinion, because he has never struck me as a captain. His body language has looked completely wrong. And actually, Connor, I think it was you that said it. Once he got his contract, he was going to down tools. Look what's happened.
Well, it was that, wasn't it, mate? It was that whole rumor of Barcelona wanted to offer him stupid money, and he was just pushing that forward to Arsenal, going, "Oh, look, Barcelona's offering me this. Can you match it or do it better?" And yeah, ever since he's been shocking. Remember the league season? He had golden boot with Mo and Sadio, and then ever since he's been utter crap.
Turned up in a trackie. Was it in the AFCON nominations? I think it was supposedly his suit didn't get delivered, but even still turned up like a right scally.
And yet, Dan, people on Twitter are actually saying, "Oh, Liverpool should go for Aubameyang. Klopp wouldn't touch him with a barge pole."
Well, I don't think Klopp's got any sort of history of signing his ex-players anyway, has he? And what sort of you think about how Liverpool operates. How does buying a guy who must be in his 30, maybe? I don't know. How old is he? 30.
31, I think.
He's 31. He's on crazy money. He looks like he's got a poor attitude, potentially. Or either that, or he's just lost his way as a player. So what bit of that fits into Liverpool signing him? No aspects. That's a complete none of that one, I think.
He's 32 and 182 days. So he's 32 and a half.
32. Wow. I didn't think he was 32. Wow, that's well, especially look, his body language has not been the same. Apparently he is now not training with the Arsenal first team. So believe that what you will. So
the thing is, though, Doug, it's like if that is, and to begin with, like you said, he's not an Arsenal captain. The reason why he had it was because Xhaka buggered it up, and Aubameyang was their best player, and they didn't have any leaders. That Arsenal team still doesn't have that many good leaders in the team, and it's like, where does he go from Arsenal?
The only captain that makes sense for Arsenal, and I'm sorry if this is biased because I'm Scottish, Kieran Tierney. The captain at Celtic did very, very well as captain at Celtic. I think he'd be a great Arsenal captain.
I thought his form was quite bad this season, no? So according to Arsenal fans,
he's been injured and he's been in and out of the team because of that Nuno Tavares, who I think is just terrible. I think he is dreadful. Obviously, we can take him from the fact that he played at Anfield and looked like a rabbit in headlights. He just did not look where he was going.
Lovely assist.
Yeah, lovely assist for Jota as well. It was different with Ozil said, Tom May, who's shouting dad. Ozil was dropped for a reason. Ozil and Aubameyang both lazy. Fine with me, Doug. No bias, as you know. I'm Scottish, also myself. Yeah, Niall. Yep, absolutely. I think the Arsenal mascot may as well be captain. If they give it back to Xhaka after what he did, I mean, Arsenal are not.
They're a mess,
not-
aren't they, Arsenal? They just seems to stagger from one thing to the next. They're actually top 4, which I don't know how, but it's crazy, isn't it?
It is indeed. But yep, thank God Klopp didn't go for Aubameyang. Aubameyang looks like he's either Barca bound or Newcastle bound, so we shall see. Anyway, but moving swiftly on, and Connor, AFCON still going ahead. Sky Sports have the rights to show every game, apparently.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird situation, because I was looking earlier. Simon Hughes from The Athletic said that, AFCON at the moment's been given the green light to go ahead. Of course, Sky Sports did tweet out, it was that a couple of days ago, when they said that they've got all the games and that. But he said, I was looking at it earlier, and I've actually got it on my laptop, but he said, well, COVID's not the problem with AFCON. It's the civil war that's currently happening in Cameroon that is the problem at the moment there. And at the moment, things are okay there, I think, from reading the article. But things could change in an instant. And of course, then you put in the safety then of the players, the staff, coaches, all of the, security, stewards and that. You're putting everyone's lives at risk if it did go ahead. Of course, with COVID, myself personally, I think it should be off anyway because of COVID. But if it did go ahead, then it goes ahead, but I think that's the big worry at the moment. I think with, looking at the situation is whether or not, nothing bad happens in Cameroon with, the civil war at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, was it
definitely.
Naby a couple of weeks ago, Doug and Chas, as well, that he had to organise Liverpool had to organise a private jet for all the Guinea players to come back to get out of the country. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we could be looking at another thing like that. And you'd never wish anything upon, obviously, the players as well. And they are big figures in all these countries. And if they wanted to make a statement, whoever in the country, they would be a prime target.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at it very briefly. I mean, it's just to diverge away from football a little bit. Apparently, it's the Anglophone parts of Cameroon, like the southern Cameroon region, for example, that organised some insurgencies a couple of years ago, started in 2017, and it's still going on now. And this movement has grown, and they're pushing for independence. So yeah, they could do something, because Cameroon's like partly French speaking and English speaking, and apparently it's that, I don't know, it's some kind of conflict around that. But it's a really good point. Like, it could be an issue. It could be more than an issue at the AFCON. So hopefully not.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't want a competition to take place in a country that's got political unrest. And actually, also, I think I read somewhere about the infrastructure. Apparently, there's a bit of a problem getting to and from the stadium. Like, there's hardly any, buses or trains or I think they probably use trams possibly in Cameroon. So it's going to be really, really interesting. But again, I'm going to copy this down. I still think AFCON shouldn't go ahead.
Yeah, I think we touched on it before, mate, didn't we? I mean, the civil unrest and all, that's one thing, but just in terms of the COVID, mate, there should be no international tournaments whatsoever going ahead. And that, as I say, I include that for the European ones as well, mate. I think you've got to be fair, and they should all just be postponed for the time being.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. But yeah,
sorry for interrupting, but didn't FIFA put something out saying that they had something off the top European clubs that they wouldn't want to release their players? I swear FIFA put out something a couple of days ago saying that, like, they've spoken with the top European clubs and they don't want. And they were collecting a statement together with FIFA to not release players for AFCON. I don't know if that's true.
The thing is, though, for the players, I mean, obviously none of us are of African origin, I presume. So for us, we sort of a bit distant, aren't we, towards the AFCON and that. But this is a massive tournament for the African players, and it's been getting played for longer than the European Championship. So it shouldn't be underestimated. And what I'm saying is, okay, Liverpool might say, yeah, we don't want you to go to the AFCON. No, we don't want you to go to Sadio. But they're players who are proud, countrymen and that, and the symbols for their country are more than just a sporting level. So, sorry, son, I'm trying to make an important point here. So yeah, sorry, I lost me saying a thought then. I mean, Liverpool could stop it, but would that cause, as an example, Liverpool could stop it, but would that cause a problem then with the players, who I'm sure would be very eager to go?
Yeah.
For instance, as an example, if they didn't want to play, why wouldn't they just retire from international football, like Joel Matip, for instance?
Yeah, Joel Matip.
It's a big honour for them to play.
Klopp did say apparently Joe Matip, he's spoken to Joe Matip, and apparently Joe Matip has no interest in going back to Cameroon, which is obviously good news for us. It's a miracle that he's actually survived this long without an injury. Obviously, touch wood.
Jog.
Every show we do, we always curse it. Every show.
It's funny that Dan comes of says, is there anyone around here got any like African heritage? I mean, I might not even be Douglas Horn. I might be called somebody like Yaya Hornio or something like that, or some, but no, I'm only joking.
Karaoke name that.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Oh yeah, I've just seen that. It's a mad one, Chris. That's crazy.
What?
Yeah, it's just. What about all your other African countries?
Oh my God! No!
Money.
Why? Like, it's glorified friendlies. Why would we want to play the South America? No. That's just stupid, that.
Yeah, crazy, mate. But, yeah.
Lord Dan thinking of why did I get good?
Kids are amazing. Kids are boss laugh.
Yeah, they are. Bloody hell, Chris. Where did you see this, honestly? Is this true?
Yeah, no, it is.
Sky Sports.
Sky
Sports did a thing on it, I think.
It's just more money. It stinks, FIFA, UEFA, all of them, even the Premier League. That every last ounce of money they can get out of anyone.
Yeah.
It's always been the case, and it always will continue to be the case, sadly.
But
like that.
Sebastian said, "Bruh, please, no South American teams in Europe." And yet, okay, this isn't really a good example, but Eurovision Song Contest. How the fuck are Australia allowed to be in the Eurovision Song Contest? How? Australia and Asia, they're not part of Europe. So how are they in the Eurovision Song Contest? Yes, inviting them for like the 60th anniversary was fantastic and all, but to continue just entering them, can you actually just see like the actual wrongness of what's happening here?
It's like putting the Ev in the Champions League. They're just never going to win, are they? So
no. Australia are never going to win the Eurovision God, Jesus Christ, can't even speak now. Eurovision Song Contest. I can't believe I'm bringing Eurovision Song Contest into it, but that's the example. Why is Australia in the Eurovision Song Contest anyway? But yeah, I was reading actually the African Cup of Nations that apparently Egypt are favourites, and it doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, it could be so wrong. Sebastian's going see Sweden versus Chile in the Nations League.
Oh bloody hell! Yeah.
That'd be one for the calendar, won't it? Yeah.
I saw the groups. I think Scotland have got Ukraine, Republic of Ireland and Armenia. If we don't come top of that, then we just might as well give up. Wales got Belgium, Netherlands, and Slovakia, I think. So that's quite a hard one for Wales. But as I say, the Nations League is glorified friendlies. Fact.
Aye. All right, Rafa.
All right. Now, obviously, we do. Well, do we or do we not have a game on Tuesday? Because Liverpool are set to face Leicester City in the Carabao Cup. Or are we? Because Leicester City's game against Everton has been postponed. There's been a few COVID cases. Now, as my understanding is, with what happened last season, if you managed to get COVID and your game was postponed in a cup competition, you would forfeit the tie. Now, obviously, Jack, I don't obviously want to do this, but were Leicester to forfeit the tie, we would move on to the semi-finals. You just don't want that.
For me, I know everyone hates this competition, but still a trophy at the end of the day, and I know it means more fixtures. But for me personally, it's not nice on Leicester, but if it's the rules are the rules, aren't they? And even if Liverpool did get knocked out in the semis due to that Z reason, only fair is fair, because you can't be. It's like Spurs at the minute, maybe, as we discussed at the top of the show. It's unfair on the other teams when they're having to disrupt their schedule, if you get me. So if it needs to be the case and Leicester do get knocked out, rules are rules. Like with Liverpool, if we do suspend, we do have to somehow give away 3 points due to obviously us getting COVID. Because especially this competition, it is everyone's pain in the backside in reality, in terms of obviously Liverpool progressing. For me, I want Liverpool to win in a 5-side. If it meant getting a trophy and the Capital One Cup, for me, I know it's not Liverpool's priority come the end of the season, but when you get into the last stages of competition, you've got to go and win these things. Yeah,
100%. Connor, how are you feeling about this game if it was to go ahead, of course?
If it was to go ahead, mate, I'd be confident. I think the young lads, look, they've done fantastically well to get to the quarters. Yes, it's, we've played Preston and other teams like that, but it's just getting minutes in people as well, which I think has been really, really good. But of course, it is that, will it go ahead or not? Obviously, the big controversial one recently, as far as I can remember, was in the Conference League with Rennes and Spurs. Where I think UEFA come out and said it can't be replayed, and now it's going to the official high sport court or something like that. Will most likely be that Spurs will, be as it forfeits, and then of course Rennes then win that game, and I think Spurs get knocked out if that's true or not, but I'm not really sure about that. But it's that thing again, isn't it? It's unfair. Look, and it is really unfair, but I remember back when, of course, it isn't really on the same level, but when Liverpool went to go and play in an exclusive tournament, remember the Club World Cup, where we took all of our team and, they were like, okay, well, you can forfeit the FA Cup game or you can play the kids. And we played the kids. Do Leicester do that? Maybe, but I'm not really sure on whether or not they could do that or not. But for me, mate, I think, look, it, like Jack said, it's a cup at the end of the day. I wouldn't like to win it like that, if win it by default and forfeit. But of course, again, it's safety, isn't it? And obviously, by the looks of things, maybe it might get called off. But I think I'm confident either way.
It's teams in the latter stages. Sorry, Doug. The teams that are going to be left in this competition, we should be, if we do progress to the semis. City are being knocked out, and they've won this competition 5 years on the bounce or something stupid, and they've caught up to us. I think we're on 7, they're on 7. It's not really good, is it? It's bad enough for United.
Good chance to go ahead. Are you saying then?
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Owen, I look at this Leicester City side under Brendan Rodgers, and see if this game does go ahead. We just keep basically putting set pieces on them because they can't defend them.
Well, I hope it doesn't go ahead, if I'm honest. I really hope it's cancelled. And I hope that, I don't know, they find some time to do it again, preferably in the international break. They should cancel at the end of January because there's an international break at the end of January, which is really stupid. So, I mean, there are places looking at the calendar, midweek fixtures, where you can squeeze in these games at the moment. Because Leicester City, I mean, poor them. I mean, they had 7 COVID cases when they lost to Napoli, which knocked them out of the Europa League, right? And then it went up to 9 cases last week, plus the injuries. And the injuries have happened because probably of fatigue for all the other players trying to compensate for all the fact that all their key players have gone. And I just think it's not fair. Like, it's not fair. To ask them to play and to punish them if they don't play. And it's like, it's really like, I don't know, where's the humanity in all this? You know, those poor players who are required to do so much work, you know, and it's a thankless task at the end of the day. So I hope it doesn't go ahead. But yeah, if it does go ahead, then Liverpool against a depleted Leicester side, yeah, I mean, they can't defend corners on the best of days. So I don't know what they're going to do on a difficult day. But no, honestly, I just hope that, I don't know, just take a couple of weeks off. Thomas Frank had a good idea to have at least a week off just so everyone can clean their training facilities, because these teams don't just play matches. They've got to train every day, you know, and it's, I don't know. It's a sad thing, but I just think we've got to look after the players a bit better.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Sebastian, Isaac, Vlahovic, Haaland, same group. Wonder who will score more versus All Black. Oof. Oh, that's some group for Nations League. Oh, here we go. Just give Nations League trophies to San Marino. That'd be like going on a date with Michelle Keegan for them. Oh, Jesus Christ. I want Liverpool to win everything. I'm on the same. I'm on the same wavelength as well. Yeah, well, we do have some festive fixtures, but whether they go ahead or not is another matter. Liverpool Leeds on Boxing Day. I mean, Connor, like, Leeds United have just got that second season syndrome about them, but I have to say, I did not think they were going to lose 7-0 to Manchester City. How bad have Leeds been this season?
Terrible, mate. Realistically, Rafinha has been the only person that can, you know, held their head high, I think, at all this season. But is it a surprise, really? You know, I know Bielsa's been, you know, spoken about, you know, like the godfather of Premier League in football in general over the last, you know, 3 years or so. He's been at Leeds, and realistically, you look at it and you go, you know, last season the signs were there. You know, they lost, you know, ridiculously to Manchester United. I think they lost ridiculously to someone else as well, and they've done it again this season. But the problem is, this season they're losing 3-4-0 every single week when it goes bad. You know, there's no good. If they get a good result, it's a 1-0 or 2-1 or something like that. There's never really a good performance and a good win then for Leeds this season. Where last season you look at it and you go, like, oh, they've done really well there, and they've got like a proper good result. And yeah, I just think the real question I think it is for Leeds is, you know, how bad does it have to get until Bielsa is let go? In that sense. Does it take them to go down and then they sack him? You know, I don't know, you know, because I know Leeds, you know, they've struggled, you know, many years to get back in the Premier League. They won't want it to be, you know, a one season thing and then, you know, down again. Hello, Leicester, till I die. But it's that way. I think Leeds, it's very interesting, and I think until we find that out and how long they'll give Bielsa, I think that is a really, really interesting thing.
Yeah, hello to Chris at Leicester Till I Die. Thank you very much for tuning in as well. Leeds Villa, Chelsea robbed of result there, but City can smash them. We definitely can. And I never saw the hype about Bielsa. I mean, Jack, he's come out and said, Bielsa, that he is unsackable. When a manager comes out and says that, you have to worry for them.
That screams to me that he's already had a word with the people above him. And I think he's a footballer, man. He's been in football for so many years. He knows himself. Obviously, Klopp all the top coaches around Europe admire Bielsa and his philosophy and style in which he's brought to not just English football, but for world football, especially in South America. Yeah, it's the manner in which they're getting beat, mate. I understand saying Liverpool have a way of playing, City do, Chelsea. Every team, apart from United, have an identity and the way the team wants to play. But even still, even if you go a bit more defensive, as Connor said, it's the writing's on the wall every single time City and United play. United, the easiest game every season is Leeds away and Leeds at home. I know they're heavily depleted due to injuries and obviously not got the biggest squad. But even still, even if you actually wants to just play a bit more counter-attacking, say against Liverpool, sit behind the ball a bit more, but they haven't got that in their DNA of a team, have they? They've only got one or two ways of playing football, and that's good for us when we play them. And obviously City heavily dismantled them, but no team's ever too big to go down either. When we see them go down, I know it's financial and all that, but you only need knowledge to pick up a couple of points. Newcastle are going to spend a lot of money. So hopefully Everton lose a couple of games. Sorry, Tom. But you never know.
Chris is saying, big Everton fan on my show tonight, Elton Wellesby.
Elton Wellesby? Wow.
That's a great name, no?
Do you know who he is? Elton Wellesby. He you guys are too young. He used to present the big match on ITV, I believe it was. Way before Sky's Premier League days. So if that's true, if you get Elton Wellesby on your show, then kudos to you. That's fantastic. Amazing.
Oh, fantastic! That's definitely a coup, Chris. Obviously, go and check out Leicester Till I Die. I will be on there on Monday. I want to say Monday. I think it's Monday at 7 o'clock. So obviously go and check that out. Thank you for the stream.
Cheers,
thanks, Helen. Take care. You'll never walk alone. Helen. You're all BBs. Well,
no, I'm not. I know who he is. Yeah, I remember. Seamless.
Tonight at 9 p.m. Oh well, we'll definitely try and tune. That is definitely a big coup. For sure. And then obviously we've got I'll ask you this first though. And Leeds, I mean, we managed to beat them 3-0 at Elland Road, and it could have been a cricket score, if I'm being honest. It could have been an absolute cricket score because Mane had so many opportunities that day that we could have potentially seen a 7 or an 8-0. Are we capable of potentially putting a lot past Leeds on Boxing Day?
I hope we don't. I hope we conserve our energy because I don't get it. You know, Tactics Tim Sherwood was talking about Man City's performance the other day, and he was saying that, this league can go down to goal difference. So Man City are absolutely right to take Leeds to the sword and, beat them 7-0. Brilliant for their goal difference. I think it's a waste of energy. That game was over after 20 minutes. The Leeds players were completely out of energy. They were, they're just not very good. But I think it's much wiser, much more savvy to save your energy, because come April time, when Man City go out of the Champions League again at the semi-final stage, and they lose a couple of Premier League games, and their season fizzles out, although they might end up with a league title, of course, as they often do. But they will have a poor end to the season, and Guardiola will be scratching his head, going, "God, where can I spend another 200 million?" It's because you knacker your players out earlier in the season. There's no point. So, Leeds United, they've got big problems. The main two problems, I think, that they have are nothing to do with Bielsa. I love Bielsa. I think he's a great manager, but his taste in players was awful last year. Bringing in Junior Firpo and Dan James as major signings to your club. Very poor judgment on reasonable money as well for Dan James as well, 20 million or however much it cost. He's just not good. He's not smart. He's not smart enough. He can sprint and that's it. You need much better than him if you're going to put in a good challenge. And so that was the first problem, was the transfers. And the second problem is just Rafinha's brilliant. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And everyone knows it and their own team knows it. And all they do now when they attack is just give it to Rafinha. That's it. That's the plan. Give it to Rafinha. And they don't have any Jack Harrison's offering nothing on the other side. Dan James, when he plays, of course, is offering nothing because he's rubbish. It's not working well for them, and of course Bamford's been injured, so I feel a bit sorry for them. But we could trounce them, but I hope we take it easy and another 2 or 3-0 be very nice.
That would be lovely. Obviously, Jack, there'll be a bit of bad blood between the two because of obviously Strook's challenge on Harvey Elliott. Can you see a red card in this game? Because I keep looking at Leeds and everyone says dirty Leeds for a reason, but I just got a feeling there'll be a red card in that game.
Hopefully it's the Leeds when he dragged down Salah 1v1 with Meslier. Because I think Salah, that's why Jürgens, I know he's frustrated coming off last night, but Mo knows himself. He probably looked at Newcastle defence and was licking his lips every 10 minutes. My French nearly swore there, but that's how excited he would have been. But coming up against this Leeds side, and obviously you mentioned Chelsea there, mate. If these games are going ahead, that Chelsea game, if they do drop any more points, we could be looking at that Chelsea fixture going, potentially Liverpool could create like a 10-point gap or something there, or a 6 or a 9-point gap, and that's massive considering we could just eliminate Chelsea from the title race.
As Chris Welsh rightly puts there, Liverpool to end Chelsea title challenge. Connor, I've been watching. I've been watching obviously Match of the Day. Something is not right with that Chelsea side, especially since Ben Chilwell got injured. Obviously, I know Saul's played over there. I know there's been a couple of other players that have played over there, but you just look at it, and Chelsea are just not the same team without Chilwell. Or Conte, for that matter.
Well, that was going to be my next point. I don't think it's Chilwell. I think it's N'Golo Kante. And look, we all know how much of a wonderful midfielder N'Golo Kante is. But looking at the stats, they've kept, I think with N'Golo Kante, they've kept like 7 clean sheets, conceded 4 goals, something like that. It's almost doubled, in terms of goals conceded and, the lack of clean sheets as well while he hasn't been in the team. Surprisingly, Marcus Alonso's done quite well for Chelsea this year, considering, the last few years he's been diabolical. But of course, Chelsea are playing that 3 at the back or that 5, style, with the wing backs, which suit Marcus Alonso well. But you look at it though, mate, I think Chelsea, of course, they spent a huge amount of money on Romelu Lukaku. I know, hello, Brian, as well.
Hi, Brian.
I know you said, Doug, let's talk about, Lukaku and Grealish, flops of the season so far. I would agree to an extent. I think Lukaku, of course, he has been injured and that, but, I look at it and I go, has he done as much as what, someone that's already been there, Timo Werner, has done? Probably not, I would say, in terms of impact. And again, someone that, was a huge, huge talking point at the start of the season, Sal Niguez. He's been absolutely awful for Chelsea so far. Tuchel has not taken his time, like what Jurgen Klopp has done. With the likes of, Robbo, Fabinho, taking that time to adjust him to Premier League football. He's just shoved him in there. And for me, that is poor man management from Thomas Tuchel. And I think, like the lads have said, I think Liverpool will be the ones to end Chelsea's title hopes, hopefully, anyway. But again, it's that thing where they've had the honeymoon period. It's the same with Arsenal. Arsenal won. Okay, it's different, scales of the spectrum. Chelsea won the Champions League, Arsenal won the FA Cup, but they were in that honeymoon period, both of them. And Chelsea are now coming out of that honeymoon period, and they're like, oh crap, we have 2 phenomenal teams in both Liverpool and Man City. They're at the top of the league, and then now realizing, we have to be perfect to challenge these 2.
Yeah,
and they're not perfect.
Especially their home form as well, which I'll just get on to very, very quickly. But very, very quickly, I fancy us to win them games, as Chris. Almighty Blues, yes, it is my 3rd stream today. Ankit, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you're doing well. Lukaku is blanking consistently before he got injured. Terrible transfer, in my opinion. Yeah, and Chelsea fans are going at me for saying Lukaku is one of the flops of the season. Well, I know he's been injured, etc., but he should be doing a lot more for 97 million. Big up to the panel and chat as well. Do take care of yourselves. I remember some Liverpool fans howling at me like a wolf for not signing. So I actually agree with Connor. Oh, there you go.
Oh no, Connor wanted Saul, didn't you, mate? You had Saul posters up and everything, didn't you?
No.
Yeah,
I wanted Renato Sanchez and Rafinha, so leave me be.
Renato Sanchez, man.
Yeah.
But I think, Owen, the worrying thing for Chelsea fans is the amount of possession they're having in games. They had 65% possession against Manchester United. They had 70% possession against Burnley. And then last night, they had 80% possession against Everton, and they've only scored one goal in all those 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, it's Brendan Rodgers' wet dream, if you pardon the vulgarity, all that possession, isn't it? But it doesn't win you football matches. N'Golo Kante wins you football matches. I've got their results in front of me. The last match that Kante played for Chelsea, they won 4-0 at home to Juventus. Absolutely dominant performance. And since he's been injured, they drew with United. They just managed to win. They were so lucky against Watford. I watched that match. They were so lucky to win that. Then they lost to West Ham. They drew 3-3 with Zenit. So they conceded 3 against West Ham, 3 against Zenit, 2 against Leeds. That's how bad they are. And then 1 against Everton's kids. It's really... Connor nailed it. It's the N'Golo Kante. He's the big difference for them. The big difference maker. So I don't know. So it's not looking good for the Blues. Sorry, Ankit. Reece James as well. He says in the chat, Reece James as well. He is a factor. He's done really well in the games that I've seen him play this season, but I don't know too much about him. But he's done very well. He looks like a great talent. But Chelsea, whenever they go forward, it's like, was it 25 shots against Everton? I'll check that. And 23 shots, 10 on target, 1 goal. And that's very typical of Chelsea this season. Firing blanks, getting into great positions, but not having anyone to finish. They've got no great finisher. But it's quite similar to City, but not as good as City all round.
Yeah, I mean, I look at that. Me and Jack have obviously done the prediction stream earlier, and we actually fancy Wolves to beat Chelsea. I mean, Connor, do you expect Wolves to maybe give Chelsea a game on Sunday?
Yeah, mate, they give us a game. And look, they could have come away with 3 points that day. For me, I think that if again, it's that thing of can Wolves finish? Wolves are fantastically set up, aren't they? Defensively, I think even better now than they were ever with Nuno, but it is going forward as well. But with Chelsea, I think I read this weird stat. I don't know how true it is, but if a defender for them hasn't scored, they haven't won this season. I don't know if that's a stat. I don't know, but I think I saw it somewhere circling around. And that's an interesting thing, that they are relying massively on different variety of goals. It's that Lukaku, Timo Werner. Now, I think them two both tested positive for COVID, which they will miss this game, I think. But it is the fact that, again, we've already mentioned N'Golo Kante, but can Thomas Tuchel, Pep has found different systems to work. Jurgen's found different systems to work. Can Tuchel do that to keep Chelsea in the title race? I don't think he can.
Yeah, I think it's a big factor as well. But we shall see as well. Just popped in to say hi. Have a great weekend, everyone. Brian, thank you very much. Really do appreciate it, and hope you're doing well. It's nice to see a long time person to come in and say hi. But thank you very, very much as well. And obviously, I've obviously not mentioned it, but Leicester, again, having a bit of an indifferent season. But Jack, we've got a little bit of getting back at Leicester because they beat us 3-1 last season.
Yeah, very much so. And I think Maddison, there's something about him. It's like when I watch a certain Portuguese midfielder for City does me head in. But Maddison, he exudes arrogance about him. You'd think he was like Steven Gerrard or something. He's got that much. There's having positive and being confident. Then there's thinking that you're the best thing since sliced bread. But yeah, we should have battered him really. Daka, they've been heavily reliant on recent weeks. Vardy, he's always going to be difficult to come up against. But Leicester, as we've just been speaking about Leeds, mate, Rodgers has one way of playing and one way of playing only. Even if he's getting beat, as Owen said, 6-0, he's still going to get at you. And you're like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Even when we bottled the league all those years ago, he's. I would have thought after at least the first season when he bottled top 4, but then to do it the second season after, and even in the Europa League this season, mate. I know they had a lot of injuries, but Napoli weren't going that much attacking wise. They had one attack and scored in that second half, and you're like, it was just a simple ball across the box where it's basic defending. Rodgers cannot coach a winning football team. I know they won the FA Cup, but
hands up on the panel who hates zonal marking. I absolutely hate it.
If it's done right, it's brilliant. If it's done wrong, then you can see it.
Brendan Rodgers' zonal marking is absolutely horrendous. It is absolutely
I don't like
horrendous.
Brendan Rodgers' form of it, but I mean, there are people doing, or a mix. I mean, that's what most of them do these days, isn't it? It's a mix of zonal and man marking.
The thing is, Doug, as well, the massive impact. Like last season, at the end of it, all of us were laughing because we should never have been in the Champions League, and Leicester and Chelsea bottled it massively. And you don't know the psychological factor in that for Leicester. Look at us at Liverpool, for example. Brendan Rodgers brought in psychiatrists, during the titles, charge and afterwards as well, and we never truly recovered from that. We never looked like, all right, yes, Luis Suarez and so forth and that, but we never looked ourselves. And it's the same with Brendan Rodgers at Leicester. They've not only had one setback, they've had 2 huge setbacks.
Yeah,
and he doesn't know what to do. And you look at it, and Anthony, as we know, he's gone on about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Since the start of the year, Leicester have been shocking in terms of like relegation form of points. And it's again, it's the Bielsa thing, and it's the same conversation in the league. How long does he have left to turn it over? And in my opinion, not very long, because look, Leicester want to be Europa League, they want to be Champions League. For me, they're not going to do that this season. They might not even get Europa League at this stage.
For me, a better coach gets a better song out of those players. I know a lot of them are injured, but there's a lot of quality talent. Tillemans, for one, what a tremendous player. He's looking like he possibly might go Real or another big team in Europe, but they haven't got bad players within that Leicester team, have they?
No, it's true. But it's a really good point you made before about, what if Leicester had managed to get Champions League? It would have done great, a world of good for their confidence. Just maybe think back with, those wonderful memories of Gini Wijnaldum in the last game of the season for us. We finished 1 point, didn't we, above Arsenal, 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
To qualify for the Champions League, and that was so huge for us. It's like the Champions League final was so huge to get over that line, to stop this, to break through that ceiling that we did then. So we can see it on the other side of when it goes right and the momentum that can build from that.
Just very quickly, because obviously I haven't actually put this in one of the banners. Do we expect the Spurs game to go ahead? Jack, do you expect it to go ahead?
You're muted, Jack.
No.
Said
it again.
A minute. Well, a minute. An hour and 49 minutes on the dot. I did say, I don't know if he's going to let me. I said no. Well, I did say yes and then no, but yeah, I'll say no. It won't go ahead, sadly.
Connor?
No. I think all the games will be taken off this weekend.
Owen?
As I said before, I don't know how bad it is at Spurs, but if it's bad, I don't want them. I don't want to play them if it's just their kids, and it's going to be, it's going to compromise the sporting. What do they call it? Sporting. What's the word I'm looking for? Integrity.
Integrity. Yeah. I'll do the draw and Rice Christmas. Oh, Jesus. Rice Christmas.
I want to protect our players. I want to protect our players, though, especially if one or two have still got. Yeah, you just don't want to put our players.
There's been a lot of games postponed in London. I think Reading Luton's off. There's another game that in London's called off, but for the life of me, I can't remember the other one. Millwall, I think's off. QPR, Swansea's off. So you can quite clearly see London's one of the big areas as well. I honestly do not see it going ahead.
I think as well, Doug. I think what the Premier League need to do, they need to decide this by tomorrow, because Liverpool will be travelling down tomorrow, and unlike the Leicester game, they need to do it the day before, not the day of the game. The Leicester game, what was it, about 3:00, and then they postponed it, and it's like, no, you do it. Okay, like they should have probably, if they're going to postpone any more games for tomorrow, they should have done it today. But they'll do it probably tomorrow morning and have a look at it. For me, I think it's a must. They need to do it Saturday for Sunday games, because, of course, travel and that, and of course,
like the fans in London.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fans.
Yeah, it's just the fact that there needs to be that communication clear and obvious from Premier League to the clubs, the fans, and everyone involved.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely, 100%. I would agree with you. Before we go, obviously, it's been a bit of a longer edition, but I thought we would go out with a bang tonight. Does anyone have any questions for the panel? Obviously, one question's just come to my brain now. Leeds Arsenal should be postponed by now. Yes, absolutely, especially with that being the evening kickoff as well. Nat Phillips, people, looks like he's going to be leaving in January. Owen, I'm absolutely gutted if he goes. I think he's been a very, very good servant for Liverpool, and people should remember what he did last season.
Yeah, I mean, he started off as, almost like, well, no one gave him any time of day. He's only playing because, he has to play. And, if he leaves in January, it's having shut out Zlatan at the San Siro, in the Champions League, that he did so much. He was brilliant. He did so much to help us qualify, didn't he? Wow, what a player. And if the rumours are right that it's only 15 million for him, then I think that's a steal. I think he's a great player. I love the way that he wins all of his headers, and I love the way that he's so calm and sensible in possession, and he's good at tackling. Okay, he doesn't have any pace. If he had pace, he could start for Liverpool, in my opinion, because that's the only thing that he's unfortunately lacking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Connor, obviously Gabby Agbonlahor, since he's a championship-based defender.
And Gabby Agbonlahor is a League Two style striker. At the end of the day, yeah, exactly. Owen's hit the nail on the head there. Look, Nat Phillips, what a servant he's been for Liverpool. Should have gone in the summer. I think we can all pretty much say that. But Jurgen, of course, kept him, signed him to a new deal as well to keep his value there as well. Like Owen said, 15 million quid is an absolute steal for whoever does get him. Of course, there will be clubs trying to get him for a lot cheaper than that. But I think me and Jack said it on my channel, mate. I think you look at him and you go, for me, I think he's especially the last 12 months, he's done a better job than, let's say, Harry Maguire, that is 90 million pounds. Yeah, and you look at it, Ben White as well, going for 50-odd million pounds. Nat Phillips can do as much as, if not more, than them. And for me, mate, I would be selling him for around, if it would be possible, around 20-25 million. I think that's probably the right
60 mil, Con. 60 mil. Yeah, easy.
That's the wish. That is honestly that I wish we could ask for that price, but of course it is very unrealistic. Unless it's Newcastle United coming in for him, which you slap 100 million pounds on his head. But look, what a servant he has been. We wouldn't have the Champions League and that without him and Reece Williams. And look, I wish him nothing but the best in the future if he does move on, because what a player he has been. Do I want him to go? No, because I just have that thought in the back of my head. I won't say what, but I won't say what, Makendo. But of course, it is that I wish him the best. And where does he go? Sean Dyche would be loving him at Burnley if it was that. But of course, we will know in the future.
I can see him in Newcastle.
Probably.
Yeah, Newcastle all day, isn't it, lads and Shaz?
Yeah, I think it
If
is.
you're Newcastle, if you're Eddie Howe, you're getting on the phone to Jürgen. Please, can we have him? Please. We need a decent centre half. We haven't got any. He's definitely a centre half or defender that doesn't fall down and crying in the box.
Yeah, where's Agbonlahor's medals and trophies? That'll be zero.
FIFA career mode.
Yeah, rather take XG more seriously than Agbonlahor. I don't listen to Agbonlahor, rather listen to a broken toilet flush. And then he goes on to say, all the best to Nat Phillips, was fantastic for us last season. One of our players of the season. I wish him all the best. Honestly, I love him. No nonsense. Yeah.
Could we see
we
him
will miss.
Sorry, Doug, for butting him. Could we see him potentially go to Italy, and it's certainly AC Milan side, where Tomore's gone there, and done really well, and
and Chris Smalling.
Yeah, and Chris Smalling. So could he go to Italy? Maybe.
Possibly. I don't know if he would go to. I don't think he's going to go to Juventus. I don't think he's going to be in France. I don't see him in France. Don't see him in Spain. I can see him in the Premier League. I think he's either West Ham or Newcastle bound. I think those two would probably slap your wrist off to get him. I think as well. And I just look at the price tag. 15 million is an absolute steal for anybody. Yeah. Absolute steal, for sure. But I just think this is crying out West Ham, Newcastle, maybe a Burnley. But I think we have to wish Nat Phillips well as well. And very, very quickly, Reece Williams, what do we expect to happen to him, Jack? Do you think he's going to be going at the end of the season?
When I seen him go to Swansea, I was like, oh, sound good, you'll get minutes. Every single week I look to see if how Swansea getting on, and the man's not even on the bench. I'm like, if he has been injured, and like, mate, he dwarfs every single defender in that Swansea team. I'm sorry, this lad played for a good couple of runs in the Premier League, helped us get top 4, as the lads have said. But for me, it's been a disappointing loan spell. I know he's probably been injured for a lot of it, but even still, I think Jurgen Klopp won't be happy the way he's not played. I think he might have changed manager as well. So it's difficult when managers do agree to play a certain player and then he gets sacked. But he's still a young player and he's got a lot of obviously learning still to do. But Reece deserves it. What is he, Connor? Is he 20 odd, Reece? He's still quite young, isn't he, though? Yeah, 19, 20, but there's still a player in there, mate. And if you consider Joe Gomez, his injury record in recent time, you could be possibly looking at a potential of Liverpool's future centre half. I still have a lot of hope for him. He's still a good player.
And what do you think is going to happen to Reece Williams?
I don't know. I hope everything goes well with him. But I was just trying to look up. Someone posted this, and I thought it was so funny. Just to go back to Nat Phillips really quickly, because they put a Zlatan quote next to a Nat Phillips quote. Zlatan said, "I'm an animal. I feel like a lion. I don't want to be a lion. I am a lion. The lion is born a lion. It means I'm a lion." That's what Zlatan said. And Nat Phillips says, "If I ever lose a header, it proper winds me up." And I love those two quotes together. They tell you a lot about those two gentlemen.
Brilliant.
But Reece Williams, I have no idea. I don't follow the Championship. I'm sorry to hear from Jack that he's not playing for Swansea, but wish him all the best because, again, we should always remember his contribution last season was absolutely terrific. And
Chris Welsh has asked this question, Connor. So we'll finish on this question. Should Ballon d'Or be scrapped?
What, in itself or for next year?
Basically as an award, because basically people see it as a publicity.
Oh, as an award, it's a joke. Even though like Mo Salah should have, got higher in it. Jorginho is the best midfielder in the world and the third best player in world football. by that, which take it as you want. And
I mean,
look, and look, you look at the stats and you look at it and you go, yeah, Messi probably should have won it. But I think all of us at the time was like, yeah, Lewandowski got robbed. But you just look at it and the last 10 years has been a bit of a joke. Not so much for Ronaldo, Messi, and so forth. You look at 2010. Wesley Sneijder should have won the Ballon d'Or that year. 2013, Frank Ribéry should have won it. And then you have someone that broke that mold in Ronaldo and Messi winning it back and forth, and Luka Modric that did what Wesley Sneijder did, but Wesley Sneijder did it better. And you look at it and you go, how didn't he win it? And when it's all said and done, it'll just be taken over. We all got this expectation of Haaland and Mbappe taking it over like Ronaldo and Messi did. For me, I think it will literally just be Mbappe year in, year out, once them two are gone.
And
wow.
Trent.
And Trent, yeah.
And Trent. That would be very, very good. Guys, it's been another fabulous podcast. I'm so happy I started this back out. Oh, hello, Brenda.
Hello, Brenda.
But no, it's been a fabulous. Oh, look who's turned up! Look who's turned up, Mr. Dave. Dave's LFC chats the four amigos, and my top three was Lewandowski, Benzema, and Salah. But it's been an absolutely fantastic podcast. So glad I started this back in August. Thanks to Mr. Thomas, in fact, who actually came up with the name as well. So I have to thank you for that bit of genius from Mr. Owen Thomas as well. But obviously we will be back in January. We will not be stopping. It's been a fantastic last couple of months. And it's been fantastic doing this as well. Also, the lovely Sophie will be back. Not sure when, but if you're watching Sophie, we're obviously thinking of you. And she'll be back very, very soon. But Jack, thank you very, very much for all your hard work of these last few months as well. What's coming up in your channel if anything this week?
Hopefully do a couple of post match. Yeah, I'll try and get you lads on this week for obviously do our post match. Could do like a double header, obviously. But thank you very much for having me on, mate. It was great to speak to the lads as always, and I just love coming on everyone's shows and just talking to each other. We're all good mates anyway. We just love talking about the Reds and speaking to everyone in the chat as well. Even my mum made an appearance, so. You never know, get it on 1 week. But yeah, thank you for having me on, mate. And it was great to speak to the lads and everyone in the chat. Keep safe, keep well, look after yourself, look after your family and your close friends as well. And we'll see you very soon. And have a good holiday. Good holidays as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you, Connor, Dan, Sophie are like my usual panelists. You've all been fab. Connor, thank you very much as always. Anything coming up on the Cup Council that we were to look out for?
It's like Jack, post match, match preview shows. Of course, the clickbait January is coming up, so we're getting primed and ready for, of course, transfer shows, of course. But everyone, please stay safe because it is such a dangerous place at the moment. Of course, if you're a certain Tory, people, you'll already be enjoying Christmas parties. But of course, in Wales today, I think the new rules have come out that you can gather, but you have to have a day off in between and then gather again. Don't get me started. Don't. But look, everyone, enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your holidays. We'll speak about that off camera. But look, it is a crazy time, and everyone, please stay safe because it is such a hectic time at the moment.
Owen, thank you very much for coming on the last Friday LFC Focus. We were wanting to get you on obviously beforehand, but we know you've been very, very busy. So thank you very much for coming on the last one of the year.
Well, it's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much to all of you guys. Really, really nice to speak to you all. And thanks to everybody in the chat as well. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Why can't I? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Jerry. I quickly. I just saw this comment because of Jack's outlandish predictions. Remaining games this month. So Liverpool have got Leicester, Leeds, Leicester, and Chelsea.
10-0 Northern. Wait, what? Now, especially when we are playing Leeds, I think that could literally get to 10-0, especially the way they defend. But I did. What did I say last night? I said
you said 6.
I was only 3 goals off that one, so yeah, I nearly got halfway there, and we did concede one, so that's -1. So I was 4 goals off. But yeah, as long as we won them 1-0, lads, as well, I'll be happy from Golovers Woods.
Yeah, I'll take any kind of goal. I'll take any kind of win. Anyway, guys, enjoy your Christmas. I'm pretty sure everyone enjoy your Christmas. Obviously, stay safe. And yeah, we'll be back after January. But until then, take care, all. Max Verstappen, champion of the world. Yeah, we all know that as well. I haven't actually spoken to Connor about that. I might speak to him off air about that anyway. But until then, we will see you all in January. Have a very, very Merry Christmas and enjoy the holidays, or happy holidays, actually, to everyone, obviously, in America. But from the 4 of us as well, thank you to Dan as well. I know he had to go as well, but thank you to him. Thanks to Sophie. Thanks to everyone who's obviously appeared on this podcast. It really is getting better and better and better. But from the 4 of us, it is good night, and you'll never walk alone. Cheers, Reds.